I'm just a human with feelings.
You're so Panda Ninja, but last time I checked you were also a false accuser who has still failed to provide any evidence for her claims against CoryxKenshin. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, some of your viewers, in today's video we're taking a look yet again at Panda Ninja and CoryxKenshin, and she said some pretty interesting stuff recently that I want to break down, including a response to a pretty controversial commentary YouTuber. So before you little snarky people say it's not me. But before we get into it, if you're not already, please consider like, subscribing and hit the notification bell. It helps with the channel, especially if you do enjoy the content. But without further ado, let's dive into the topic at hand. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, like I was saying, Panda Ninja has done this open, candid response and talk about the backlash that she's got since posting her accusations about CoryxKenshin. I think it's pretty important to keep covering this situation because Panda Ninja still thinks it's acceptable to post these type of accusations, these life-ruining accusations, without any evidence. Even if people aren't believing what she has to say, that doesn't mean people shouldn't try and hold her accountable. But without further ado, let's dive into what she actually had to say.
I go by Panda Ninja. Those of you who met me probably had some, I guess first impressions make sense to me now. A lot of y'all already have some sort of conclusion about me without knowing the full thing about me, and it's okay.
I mean, ultimately, if you do post serious accusations against a content creator and when called out for it, you change your story several times, you then backtrack, and then you go back on your backtracking to your first original narrative with a popular content creator or old popular content creator like Mavatak, and then don't post any proof for your said accusations, yeah, people are going to have maybe a bit of a weird first impression of you.
I'm not expecting people to like me. I'm gonna let you guys get to know me a little bit, so you guys can see for yourselves.
Sorry, I'm just gonna say how it is, Panda Ninja. No one gives a flying fuck about your personality. Ultimately, people want to see the alleged evidence for your claims against CoryxKenshin and the alleged other victims that CoryxKenshin has that you and Mavatak have been spreading around. I'm sorry, but in a situation like this, where the large majority of people dislike you because you failed to back up your accusations against a well-loved content creator, people are not going to be persuaded to change their thoughts and views on you just because you're being more candid and you're showing your personality and who you actually are.
And a lot of it is going to be unedited. A lot of it's going to be raw. I feel like maybe you guys should see it for yourselves. Who I am as a person. My name is Dami, as many of y'all know. My preferred name. Panda is my gaming persona. I'm just a human with feelings.
I mean, I think it's pretty clear what Panda Ninja is trying to do here. She's trying to sympathy bait. She's pulling out all the cards like, I'm just a human, I've got emotions too. And it just doesn't work in a situation like this when you have made serious life-ruining accusations against somebody and haven't backed it up.
And emotions. And I love like no other. It's a blessing and a curse. It really is. Grew up in a household or family that really didn't have so much like closeness, and I was so used to that. It made it difficult for me to be around those people because I didn't know how to be around those people. I wanted the same love I was giving, and it was just not happening.
I do think it's really funny that it's very clear that Panda Ninja is like desperate to appeal to those people that think negatively of her by just like info dumping and trying to appeal to people's more emotional side by saying, look, I'm an emotional person too, I love like no other. Ultimately, she decided to put herself in this position, and she would probably win more people over if she posted any alleged evidence that she has, but she won't because it seems like she doesn't have that evidence. Otherwise, why wouldn't you just post it at this point?
That's why it's so odd what is happening now, what people perceive me as.
Quote unquote crying. I have no idea if she's faking or if that's genuine tears, but whatever, she's trying to cry. It's hard to feel sympathy for somebody on any level when ultimately they put themselves in that position. She came out with huge accusations against a content creator without any proof. A lot of her story did make sense. She was going on live streams arguing about it, having like these crash outs, and then she backtracked when she saw a TikTok post, only to then walk back on that, like I said, to go and team up with Mavatak. It's hard to take somebody seriously or feel sympathetic when that's what they've been doing. I'm not naive here. Even if she did handle this situation well, had evidence, whatever, there of course would have been people that just defended CoryxKenshin immediately because it is a large popular content creator. But if there was sufficient evidence for her claims and she revealed a bit more information about these alleged victims who she keeps spraying up and throwing into the mix, ultimately she wouldn't be in this position.
Because they really don't know how I am, who I am, and how much I've changed to be built strong enough to be able to stick up for myself more. lot of people who would say bad things about me. I could count them off my hand. It wasn't like extreme amount, but I knew how many there were. And now I can't even count. It's so much more than I have ever had in my entire life.
Again, she's trying to sympathy bait here, big up the amount of people that hate her and, you know, how that's affecting her. But again, ultimately, what did she expect was going to happen when she made these type of accusations without any sufficient proof? People are going to criticize her. People are going to say things that probably she won't like to hear. And ultimately, that's what happens when you make public accusations without sufficient proof. People criticize and people analyze what you've said. But the thing is, she keeps acting like she does have this evidence that, you know, just wait, and keep hyping it up. But ultimately, I don't know why she would put herself through this much shit if she did have this evidence, because ultimately surely she would just drop it, right? That would be the best thing for her, and she would have saved herself lots of this quote-unquote harassment.
It's crazy. I don't want people to think I'm some sort of bitch, because I'm not.
Sorry, Panda, just a bit late for that.
I'm not a perfect person. But I can't say that what I did was wrong, because I literally spoke about my experience of what happened to me.
That's the thing, Panda Ninja. Nobody's actively criticizing you just for coming out to tell your side of a situation. That'd be ludicrous. Everyone has that right, ultimately. But the reason people are critiquing you are the fact because when you came out about your story, there were several inconsistencies. You backtracked, then re-backtracked on your initial backtrack, and failed to provide any proof. That's why people are criticizing you, not just for telling your story. That's not the issue here.
And people put their own versions of the story in it, and it's hurtful to have to clarify things.
It's true, when this story broke and this situation started getting more popular, lots of falsehoods were spread about Panda Ninja and her story. Things that she never said, people made things up and were incredibly malicious, and this happened on both sides. I covered this extensively, but ultimately you do have to clarify things when you make a situation public, especially when there are severe misconceptions because of stuff that you've said yourself. Yes, like she said, it might be painful, but when you come up publicly saying something, you kind of expect that people are going to have questions and you might have to clarify and clear some things up.
When it was written all along on lots of slides.
There were inconsistencies and people had questions. Just because you wrote something down doesn't mean people can't question what you've written, and you don't have to clarify.
Of what happened. It just sucks. It just sucks how the world works, how the world is.
Oh, Panda Ninja, it just sucks how the world works. You've got to make clarifications about life-ruining allegations to make sure you're not spreading any misinformation about your own story, and you have to provide what's that proof? The world is just so sick.
To live in a world where your heart's so fucking big that you feel like you don't belong.
Oh, wasn't that nice? I do feel really sympathetic towards Panda Ninja now. I might just stop criticizing her altogether because, you know, she's a person too and she has emotions, so that must mean that people can't criticize her or say anything negative about her. Since it was in the video as well, she kind of weirdly responded to a commentary YouTuber on her story for whatever reason. The controversial commentary YouTuber Rion put out a video in the title that stated CoryxKenshin won, and for whatever reason, Panda Ninja took a bit of an issue with this. Bro, he said he won, ha ha ha, little do you know. Only out of all the things that have been said about her is this just a particularly weird one to respond to on your story publicly. Ultimately, it feels like as well she's still hyping up this whole thing that, you know, there's more to the story, that there's lots of proof about CoryxKenshin. But again, ultimately this means nothing when this proof isn't publicly out there, and nobody is really willing to take the risk to believe her at face value when ultimately she's been shown to have several inconsistencies and just actively lied in her story. Yeah, that's what Panda Ninja had to say in her response. What do you think about this? Please feel free to comment down below. Once done, then you might as well subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content. But I've been your host Samuel, you've been watching Slot Meal, and I will catch you in the next YouTube video. Goodbye.